Welcome back. In this session, we're going to talk about the relationship between worldview and development. And I have here a tree, a picture of a tree. If you can use your imagination, you might be able to see the different parts of the tree. We have down here at the bottom roots, and then there's a trunk, and then branches, and then fruit. We're going to call this tree our culture tree, and we're going to look at four aspects of culture, four aspects of life in our community that we all share together. And by putting these concepts, these aspects of culture on the tree, we'll explore the relationship between these concepts and then draw some applications from it. So I've asked Debbie if she would come, and she's got four words, four different aspects of culture, and she's going to try to correlate them to different parts of the tree. She's going to tell us why she makes the choices she makes.
Okay, looking at the tree, I would place my values where the roots are, and that would be the basis of my beliefs. Based on my beliefs, then I would have my consequences be where the branches are, because I would suffer consequences or encounter consequences based on my beliefs. And depending on my consequences, then I would adjust or modify my behavior based on what my consequences are.
All right, very good. So now we can see the four aspects of culture here together. And what Debbie has said is that she sees the values as the root of culture, and that from values come our beliefs. Our beliefs lead to certain consequences, and these consequences inform our behavior. Would somebody in the group like to arrange these ideas differently? Jose, why don't you come and...
I see it a little differently. I would say the basis would be our beliefs, the way we think, our ideas would be what determines our values. How we think would determine what we value things at. And then our values would determine how we conduct ourselves, so that would be our behavior. And I believe that our behavior always has consequences.
Okay. So you've arranged things a little differently. You put beliefs down there at the foundation, and from belief flows a values system, and our values inform our behavior, and behavior has consequences. This is good. I'd like to give an example from real life and explore further the relationship here. When I went to Papua New Guinea back in 2000, I went to the Eastern Highlands with the district health officer, and we looked over his district, and he said to me that the government had been trying for 3 decades to get the people in that area to use latrines. I asked him what percentage of the population was actually using latrines, and he said about 3%. After 3 decades, 3%. I said, why? He paused and he thought. He said, you know, everyone who's using latrines is a dedicated Christian. And then he told me, traditional belief here says that there are evil spirits that inhabit human waste and that hide in dark corners. Well, if you build a latrine, you're building dark corners to contain human waste. You're building a spirit house that nobody wants to go into. So from that story in Papua New Guinea, what were the beliefs that you see at work? So from that story in Papua New Guinea, what were the beliefs that you see at work?
That human race somehow contains evil spirits.
Okay, that there are evil spirits that can inhabit human waste. What values were a consequence of that belief?
There was a fear because of the spirits, so the value, I would think, would be that they were avoiding angering the evil spirits or disturbing them or
Okay,
being where they were, I guess.
they wanted to keep the evil spirits happy. That was a high value to them. Didn't necessarily want to encounter them in a dark place. Right? So how did that affect their behavior?
The locals refused to build or use latrines.
Okay. And what were the consequences of that?
Well, the consequences were that only 3% of the people used the latrines.
Okay. Just 3%. And because only 3% used latrines, what might you expect would be the result in the community? Yeah.
Illness and disease would probably be a lot greater.
And that was the problem that the government had identified and what they were trying to work on by encouraging the people to build latrines, is that, latrines contain human waste and stop the spread of disease. So the consequence was illness and disease in the community. Jesus taught us something like this. He said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." And we can't separate the truth of God from our own personal development in our walk toward Him and becoming what He wants us to be. And so what I want you to do in your small groups at home is to continue to explore together this idea, this relationship between the truth of God and our beliefs and our own personal development.